Well, I've reached me snapper grounds this afternoon where I'm going to hedge me bets. And yeah, I'm not overly hopeful, you know. There's a fair bit of swell. Water's a little discoloured and I haven't been able to find a temperature break anywhere up the coast. So it's really consistent on 17 degrees, 17.1 degrees all the way down. So yeah, all I'm doing is I'm coming into an area where I've caught snapper before, and I've made sure that I've sort of looped around inside where I'm going to fish. So I haven't driven over the grounds I'm going to fish. I don't want to sort of scare any fisher here. It's 2:30 in the afternoon, so it's a little bit early yet to catch a snapper, to be honest. But anytime after about 3 o'clock on sign, you've got a shot at taking a good fish. But so I fish with 3 rods when I'm snapper fishing, just so I can sort of rotate them. This is my main rod. This is a Samaki Zig Extreme V2, really nice rod, 10 to 17 pound, plenty of grunt in the butt, sensitive in the tip. And yeah, I'm using a 3/8 and a 4-inch Gulp prawn. It's got so many fish on the 4-inch Gulp prawn, so I always use a loop knot, whether it makes a difference or not, I don't know. This is my all-time absolute favourite snapper lure. I have caught more snapper over the last 5 years in close on this lure than any other lure by far. Now admittedly, I do throw this lure way more than I do throw any other style of lure, but man, this is a 3-inch Gulp prawn. I've got it rigged on a 3/8, and man, I would fish whole seasons just with a 3/8, no matter whether I was in 20 feet or whether I was actually out to, like, you know, 70 feet. And that 3/8 on a 3/0 hook on a Gulp prawn is an absolute snapper killer. My cousin and I call this lure the cigarette butt, because man, that's what it looks like. It has absolutely no inbuilt action in it. Fairly nondescript looking piece of plastic shaped like a prawn. But man, it is a fish killer. Everything that swims out here loves a 3-inch Gulp prawn. Now, some of my biggest snapper in close off Newcastle have come on a 3-inch Gulp prawn. 71 came on a 3-inch Gulp prawn. 72 came on a Gulp prawn. As a matter of fact, my PB snapper, a 75, came on a 4-inch Gulp prawn. So yeah, I like to fish it in sort of natural colours. I like to fish it very aggressively. If I'm not hit on the drop, once I get down to the bottom in the strike zone, I really give it to that rod. And I think what's happening is that the fish are picking it up on their lateral line a long way from the lure, and they're smoking in on it. So man, it is a weapon. It is my absolute confidence lure, and I'm going to be belting that relentlessly this afternoon. Let's see what happens. Okay, here's how I'm fishing the 3-inch Gulp prawn, or the cigarette butt, on a 3/8. Kind of like doing a pendulum cast. Flicking the bail arm over straight away, and the sink down through the water column. Just winding really gently, trying to stay in contact with the lure and hoping for a big fish to hit me on the drop. Out in about 55 feet of water, coming over marks that I've caught plenty of snapper here before. Just a few fish hugging the bottom on the sounder. Watch that braid really closely. In the strike zone. Oh, there's a hit. I'm fishing that lure very aggressively. Yeah, so there's a fish, shit fish by the feel of it. But you can see how they really like that gold prawn, no matter what species they are. Yeah, the old Sergeant Baker, they absolutely love it. Textbook hookup, right in the top jaw. Oh, fish. Little pinky by the feel of it. Yeah, I thought they might have been snapper on the sounder there. Just a little bigger than the last one I got. Maybe a 35. No mistake in a snapper when you hit them, but they bump that head. Yeah, 59 foot of water. Yeah, nice little panty. Nice little panty. About 35. You can see how they absolutely love that cigarette butt, the gold prawn. Yeah, so I'm stoked that I could actually, you know, demonstrate a technique with a lure that I love and actually hit our target species, which, believe me, is not always easy to do. So I've got my net ready. A lot of guys make a mistake when they're snapper fishing, is that yeah, they're so excited to get fishing that they forget to get their net and put it in a position where you can just grab it really easily. Particularly if you just fishing with one guy, you don't want to have big fish at the side of the boat, and suddenly you're searching around for your net, you can't get it out from under your cast platform. Nightmare, you know. So, and one other tip: when I'm fishing, doesn't matter what sort of fishing I'm doing. What I do is I try to just relax as much as I can, sort of just slow down, slow everything down, get into this sort of zen state, and yeah, and then I just simply rotate them rods round and round. You know, watch the sounder pretty closely, and I'm always looking around for any sort of like activity on the surface that I can throw my lures under. Really, I'm just relaxing, punching them lures in. I know, you know, I can locate fish, you know, I'm going to catch. I think the biggest thing is when you're fishing is that, like, it's about locating the fish, you know, like, yeah, one thing I don't do, and it's each to their own, but one thing I don't do, I don't use catch scents on any lures, no matter what sort of fishing I'm doing, whether I'm bass fishing, jew fishing, brim fishing, flathead fishing or snapper fishing. I never use catch scent. I don't really think it makes any difference whatsoever. It's a reaction bite trying to get out of a fish that, you know, for him to commit a very short, you know, like time frame to a lure before his mate gets it. So yeah, relax, put them in. You can find the fish on, you know, on the coastline. As soon as you find them, yeah, you'll catch. Another thing I do when I'm snapper fishing is yeah, like, I like to fish 20 and 20. This is 20-pound braid and this is 20-pound leader. And yeah, I'm trying to stop a big fish, so the lightest I'll go is 15-pound with a 20-pound leader. But yeah, I don't fish light braids, I don't fish light leaders. Yeah, personally, I don't think that it's going to bring you any more bites than fishing 20 and 20. You know, like, and the point is that it's trying to hit a really big fish, and when you hit that big fish, yeah, you want a shot at actually catching him. So 20 and 20 works really good for me. The lightest I will go is down to 15-pound, but I still use a 20-pound leader. So yeah, so that's how I like to fish. And yeah, I like a chance of catching a really big fish, because man, I've been blown away so many times by a big snapper, and yeah, I just know the sheer power of a big snapper. Once you get them from 70 and you get them 70 plus up to 80 and above that, they are a very powerful fish over a short distance, and yeah, they'll get you to the reef really quick. Yeah, another thing that I do when I'm solo snapper fishing is that I only ever fish with one rod. I never put any other rods out of the boat. I don't put any speculators out or anything like that. I just have one rod in my hand, and that's what I fish with, because I'm on my own, because I'm chasing big fish, and I've been blown away many times by really big snapper, and I know how powerful they are. So what I do is I just have one rod in my hand. I concentrate on that rod. You know, if I hit a big fish, a hot fish, you know, usually I'll just have my bucket out to slow me down. I've just got to try to get that bucket in and kick that motor over and get over the top of that fish. But if I've got other rods out, yeah, it's just a disaster waiting to happen. When I'm at this time of the day, early in the day, 2:30, I've been a little bit antsy and I've wanted to get out fishing. I'm bored at home. What I generally do is I'll start fishing. I'll usually fish from, say, 50 feet out to about 60 feet. Just staying a little bit wider off the coast while the sun's high in the sky. Seeing if I can, you know, get some fish that are out in a bit of depth of water while the sun's up. And as the sun gets lower, I'll tend to be pushing in further and further and further in. And yeah, sometimes right before dark, I'll be pushed right into, you know, like, yeah, like 25 feet, you know, 20 feet, you know, just before dark when they're moved right in. But yeah, that's another thing I do. So yeah, I've got the 4-inch gold prawn on the 3/8, and a pretty big hook, probably a 5/0, and I'm probably in about 55 foot of water. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a big long drop on the rod, casting as far as I can and clicking the bail arm over immediately, and then I'm letting it sink on a semi-slack line. So just really gently winding, because I want to maintain contact with that lure if I get hit on the drop. Now, I've counted down my first cast in here, and it's taking me about just over 40 seconds to get down to the bottom. So I'm usually counting down. Once I get to about 30 seconds, I start to switch on a lot more, because I know I'm getting to that strike zone where the fish can be up off the bottom, that 10 feet up, 12 feet up, them big snappers. So yeah, once I get down, I can't get over that 30 count. Yeah, it's time to switch on a little bit, trying to maintain contact with that lure, and, you know, ready to strike a big fish. Generally, the big fish will, all the times the big ones will get you on the drop. Okay, here's a better fish. This fish hit me a long way out, and he hit me on the drop, which is that classic sort of snapper tape. So I've got him up off the bottom. Gonna back that drag off a little bit, and that doesn't feel like too bad a fish. Probably high 50s, I'd say. But yeah, he's well and truly up in the water column now. So what I'm doing is, yeah, I just back my drag off a little, just relax, take my time. I can see colour. I'm gonna back it off just a little more. So I've been working really hard all morning. See, they don't like that boat, eh, when they see that boat. I'm gonna back my drag off just a tiny bit more. He's a nice fish. Oh. kind of working for. So yeah, he's a really nice fish. I'd say he's probably close to 60, I'd say. Or sometimes a big fish will get you where you've smashed that lure up off the bottom. Second it hits the bottom, relaxes again, or comes down to that strike zone, mate, they will be on you. And I've had big fish almost reef the rod and reel out of my hand. So yeah, I'm using a very aggressive action. I haven't been hit on the drop, so I'm really sort of, yeah, whipping that gulp prawn around. And I don't like it when the lure comes in too close to the boat, so yeah, once it's within 10 feet of the boat or so, I'll wind in really fast and I'll belt it out again. Most fish you catch, they're a long way from the boat. I just keep putting them in. So one thing you will catch a lot of when you're snapper fishing is Sergeant Bakers, yeah. Kind of like a trippy looking fish, you know, beautiful reds and colours, big fin on this fella here, you know. Extremely aggressive fish, you know. But they always say, catching Sergeant Baker in that area, you got a good shot at catching a snapper as well. So yeah, it's always a good sign to me. Yeah, that's another good sign when you snapper fishing. You know, if you're jagging yellowtail, you know, on your soft plastic, on your bait down there, good sign. Okay, so what I've done is that, like, I've been fishing in close there for about an hour now, and it just looks dead and lifeless to me. I've caught one Sergeant Baker. There's very little bait on the sounder, so what I've done is I've made a bold decision, which is, you know, sometimes I think that's what you got to do. There's nothing, you know, on the grounds in close. I've punched further to sea, out to an area where there's a very large plateau. A really large plateau that he comes out of, like 75 to 80 feet up to 53 feet in places. So straight away, there's a lot more bait on the sounder here. So just going to have a fish here for an hour and cruise around on this big, huge plateau the size of 10 football fields and see what happens. Over the years, I have caught a lot of fish out here. So yeah, bold decision. Let's see what happens.